Kalki's Parthiban Kanavu, English translation by Anand Kannan, read by Sujata Anand. Book 1, Chapter 8. The Art Gallery. The art gallery was in the southern royal street of Urayur. It was well known in the southern country. It was said that even Emperor Mahendravarman's art gallery suffered in comparison to the Urayur art gallery. Parthiban and Vikraman rode their white horses and arrived at the entrance to this gallery. Ponnan got there at the same time. He had been worried that he may not be able to get an audience with the king that late. He was pleasantly surprised at encountering the king on his way to the palace. He said, "Your Majesty," in a quavering voice. On hearing his voice, Vikraman and Parthiban turned around. The king asked, "Ponna, what brings you here?" He could guess the reason from Ponnan's silence. He and Vikraman dismounted the horses. He said, "Ponna, take this torch and follow me." Ponnan took the torch from the attendant standing nearby. He could neither understand what the king was doing at that hour in the art gallery, nor guess why he was asked to come along. But he was pleased that he was not asked to go back home. Ponnan followed the king and the prince into the gallery. Anyone entering the gallery for the first time and looking around would rue the fact that they only have 2 eyes to take in the art surrounding them. The walls were covered with colorful, exquisite paintings. The delicately sculpted pillars had artwork on them as well. The ceiling, too, was covered with frescoes. One wall had paintings of Indra acquiring his weapon Vajrayudha from the sage Tatichi, his victory over Vriddasura, his victorious return to the Indraloka, the celestial men and women cheering his victorious return, and the dance of the celestial dancers. Another wall portrayed the Devas and Asuras churning the milky ocean by using the Mantra hill as the whisk and the snake Vasuki as the rope to turn it. There was another painting of the episodes of Kama, the god of love, aiming the arrows of love to disrupt the penance of Lord Shiva, and the sequence all the way until the birth of Lord Muruga. These paintings did not seem to be just works of art. They seemed to be somehow alive. They did not conform to the rigorous rules of proportions and dimensions of art. Yet, the limbs and facial expressions were so lifelike that the viewer could sense the presence of these celestial characters. The art gallery was open to the public for 3 days a month. During Ponnan's visit in those days, these paintings held him spellbound. However, on this visit, he had to keep pace with the king and the prince. They were walking too fast for him to relish the paintings. They walked past the 3 halls and stopped in front of a locked door. Ponnan had wondered what was behind those locked doors and had been told that the door remained closed at the king's orders. The king took out a key and opened the door. Ponnan's pulse quickened. He thought he was about to witness a significant revelation. The king said, "Ponna, go ahead of us. Raise the torch high, but not too high. The smoke may ruin the paintings." Ponnan went in and raised the torch. He could see more paintings, but he could not tell what they depicted. King Parthiban followed him into the dark hall, along with Vikraman. He said, "My child, you have asked me several times what lay behind these closed doors. I was not going to show you these things yet, but the occasion has arrived sooner than I expected. I had deliberately kept this room dark. No one has seen this room but me. Ponna, Can you raise the torch a little higher? Ponnan had become distracted by the king's speech. He regained his alertness and raised the torch. The king asked, "My child, look at this painting. What do you see?" An army seems to set off for war. Such a large army with lots of elephants, horses, chariots, and soldiers, exclaimed Vikraman. He turned around to face his father and hesitated a bit. Go ahead, Vikrama. Do you have a question? It's probably just my imagination, but I was wondering about the artist who painted these. You guessed right. I painted these. I have dreamt them both when I slept and lay awake. I have painted those dreams here. Look carefully, my son. Whose armies are these? These are Chora armies. I can see the tiger flag. But father... Vikraman hesitated again. Go ahead, Vikrama. If you have a question, ask away. The royal elephant is on a majestic walk. There is a mahout, but there is no one on the howdah. I deliberately left it blank. I wish for a brave warrior in the Chora clan to gather such a large force and march to war. When someone in our clan does it, I want him to be painted here. As of now, the Chora kingdom is tiny. It is squeezed by the Pallavas from the north and the Pandyas from the south. But this country was not always like this. Long ago, our clan's name was held in awe. Karikalan and Nedumudikili, your ancestors, were great warriors. Their acts of bravery caused great trepidation in rival kingdoms. The Pallava kingdom did not exist. The Chora kingdom spanned a large area in the north. Cheras and Pandyas were paying tribute to the Chora king. Many kings from the overseas countries were sent emissaries with tribute to honor the Chora kings. Just as the port of Mahabalipuram is well known now, Kaveripattinam was famous in those days. Large ships used to sail out of the Kaveripattinam harbor and bring treasures to fill the Chora coffers. My child, my wish and my dream is for the Chora kingdom to reach such eminence again. Look at this painting. The king went on speaking like a man possessed. The painting he pointed to next showed the Chora army was crossing a river. In another painting, they were climbing a mountain. In yet another, there was a scene of a battle. In that painting, the rival kings were surrendering their riches after being defeated in war. The paintings went on in this vein until the Chora reached the Himalayas. The tiger flag was unfurled at the heights of the Himalayas, the king of the mountains. Then the Chora army made a victorious return and was greeted by the citizens in a grand ceremony. In another series of paintings, large ships sporting the Chora flag set off towards faraway islands. The kings welcomed the Chora fleet to their respective kingdoms. The magnificent tiger flag flutters in those kingdoms. Large palaces, temples, and towers are built in those countries. The hall was full of such wondrous paintings. End of chapter 8. Thank you for listening.